People often ask me why a boat owner should choose a boat like this one, the Strider Zr by Sacs. Try to imagine being on a sailboat. Where would you prefer to be? In the cockpit or at the top of the mast, swinging to and fro like a pendulum? There's also another element to consider. Sailboats have a bulb filled with lead or cement. It's located a couple of meters below the surface of the water, and its purpose is to counterbalance the action of the wind on the sails. Here, they've done something similar. All the masses are concentrated in the lowest part of the boat, and they're enormous weights, like the two mighty 1200 horsepower engines. Then there are the fuel tanks, which contain 2,060 litres. And finally, some very heavy furnishing elements like the travertine, which maybe they could have avoided. Everything is located below the waterline, or just barely above it. So think how stable this gigantic rib is. But that's not all. It's also very wide, and this increases its stability even more. And then there are the rubber tubes, which are huge as well. It's impossible to immerse such an immense volume of air, so it's also very safe. It seems to me that there are excellent reasons to choose a boat like this one. There are also factors that argue against it, of course. For example, you might puncture the tubes by scraping some rocks. But in that case, you would also have problems with a traditional boat made of fiberglass. Sacs is the world leader in the production of luxury maxi ribs, and this is recognized considering the large quantity of craft produced, the number of models in their catalogue, and their sizes. This is the flagship. You can hardly say its lines are commonplace. It was designed by a gifted Italian designer, Cristian Grande, who succeeded in giving it a silhouette that perfectly expresses this boat's characteristics of speed and stability. Naturally, the ship's engineers also put a lot of work in here as well, applying concepts of comfort and protection typical of the automotive sector. The profile seems that of a missile ready to shoot out of the water. The stern rests on the surface with its whole width, over 5 meters. In the bow, the tubes rise considerably so as to always remain above the waves. The living area is enormous, able to accommodate at least 12 people. A great big lounge on the sea with 2 extendable dining tables. This boat is so stable that watching TV is a pleasure as well. Let's see what they're broadcasting. Technically, this boat is classified as an inflatable, but in reality, it more than holds its own against more comfortable and luxurious yachts. In fact, there is no comparison with boats of equal size. The sun pads cover an area of 10 square meters. At the stern, the swimming platform seems like a bench. The cockpit is perfectly protected, not only for the driver, but also for the person sitting next to him. The helm station is extremely comfortable, even when seated. Before leaving, however, I want to see how they've arranged the rooms below deck. The shipyard is willing to change the layout completely in accordance with the owner's requests, because the bulkheads don't have a structural function. In other words, if they're removed, the boat doesn't disintegrate. The standard version has an entrance room, square with a table and sofa, and 2 double cabins. A classic one at the bow, the other at the stern with a triple bed. There are 2 bathrooms, the owner's and the other with the entry from the dining area. The travertine chosen for the bathrooms and the leather upholstery give the whole environment a touch of elegance. The side windows characterize the entire profile, illuminating the rooms and giving guests a panoramic view outside. My feet are just a few centimeters above the surface of the water, and this boat is over 17 meters long. It would be hard to find another boat with the same characteristics. Who knows how it behaves while navigating? Well, there's only one way to find out. On this example, we have two 1200 horsepower MAN engines at our disposal. That's a lot of power, and the shipyard has also chosen the best propulsion system, surface drives, in this case made by Aeron. The boat planes at 11 knots, 1,300 revs per minute. We need to compliment the engineer who designed this bottom and dealt with the arrangement of the weights on board, but also the person who designed the propellers. The speed is 16 knots, 1,400 revs per minute. Fuel consumption is just 70 litres an hour, not much for an aircraft carrier like this. What a fantastic feeling! You just have to open the throttle a bit and you're at 30 knots. It stretches out over the water, it glides, it feels like we've made a quality leap in terms of efficiency. 1,600 revs per minute, 100 litres per hour per engine. I can't resist. I always have to accelerate a little bit more. 36 knots, 1,800 revs per minute, but now we're up to 135 litres per hour per engine. The more you accelerate, the more fun it is. 44 knots at 2,000 revs per minute, 44 knots at cruising speed. Just think, in one day you can go the length of Italy, have breakfast in Genoa, and then comfortably sit down at a table for dinner in Taormina. I still have a little more left. Now I'm going to use it all. "50 knots, 2,300 revs per minute, but I still have to adjust the trim. 51.5. 52 knots. What an amazing stability. It's incredible. This is a fantastic boat. The stability actually is its best characteristic. But what happens on a turn at full throttle? Look at that. It doesn't bat an eyelid. Beautiful. There's no other boat that is this big and this agile. The Strider Zr is entirely produced in the Sacs shipyard, with advanced technology like vacuum resin infusion for both the hull and the deck. This maxi rib might seem to be the alternative to a yacht, but often it's the tender or the plaything of owners whose pleasure yachts measure tens of meters in length.